Hey guys, Brent Hull Build Show. I'm at Comic-Con for tool lovers. Come join me today in the Build Show. Okay guys, so I am at the Brown's Tool Auction. This is the 62nd annual Brown Tool Auction. Brown has been doing this for a long time. They used to be every year, now they're twice a year. We're here in the spring, they've got a fall show, so if you want to come back to another auction like this, you can come in October, or you can look these guys up, findtooljournal.com. What we have here is these collectors would collect tools over time. Now, you guys know I went to North Bennett Street, and a lot of things that we were doing there, actually using tools like this, we would actually take old hand planes and get them working again so that we could be building, if you're going to build something from the 1820s, you need to know how to use hand tools to do it. So that's why we learned to use these tools. And so the transition in planes is pretty interesting because you've got wood body planes, okay, and this is how these planes used to work, and this is, cutting a tongue and groove, but pretty standard. They're 9 inches long. There's this wedge that holds the knife in, right? And you're, line your groove up with your plane, and you cut a groove. This is how you would have tongue and grooved floor. Remember, you didn't pick up moldings from the molding yard at that time. You didn't pick up windows from the window house. You didn't pick up doors you made them. You made them by hand. And so these were the tools that were used to make all the things that go into a house. Flooring was particularly hard because you had to actually measure each board to the joist, and it was difficult. There wasn't standardization. And so building this way is fascinating. So first it's these wood body planes, right, that start to use. Then you get into transitional planes. Transitional planes have part wood, part metal, and then you get into metal planes, and metal planes are, as the name implies, are made of metal. There was a metal plane for nearly everything, okay? From scrapers to thin shoulders to in all different sizes. And if you're into planes at all, you know that there's jack planes and there's rough out planes, and there's all kinds of joiner planes. And so, but I mean, look at this one, okay? This is a Victor plane, but this is for shaping curved work. If I move this blade this way, right, I can actually now cut a convex shape, right? So convex, concave, right? You can do both with this plane. So they're fascinating tools that remind us how things used to work. All kinds of different tools here, all kinds of different ways to saw. You've got English planes, you've got, obviously American planes. You know what this is? This is a chop saw, right? No longer the DeWalt, but this is the Stanley early chop saw that you would actually, set your boards up and actually, cut your miters there with that, all by hand. There is, look at this saw, look at this plane right here. This is a Miller's Fall, I believe. It's a Sargent. So what they have is this is a tongue and groove, okay? And so you hold it this way, right? I'm cutting my groove. I cut it this way and I cut my tongue, right? Pretty awesome that this, kind of ingenious way of cutting and doing things is really pretty cool. So the molding planes were often sold in different shapes and different sizes. Stanley came out with what's called a Stanley 55 and a Stanley 45, which was a plane that comes with tons of different cutters, and in one plane you could set up all kinds of different planes. So you didn't have, when you're carrying your toolbox around, you didn't need, all these different planes. You had one plane that could cut all for one. So slowly Stanley becomes kind of the king of the tool industry, as they still are today. And they have these catalogs like this 34 from 1937 that has all different kinds of tools inside here. They even had a plane for cutting fiberboard, like cutting Celotex, like we've seen on that job, that Staub house. And so there was a tool for literally everything. And Stanley becomes the 800-pound gorilla on the block because they bought the best patents, they bought the best tools, they're supplying the most. They were even doing toolboxes like this where you could actually buy, and they're very collectible, but all the tools basically that you would carry on a job were sold as kind of a collection there. And so when you have an old toolbox like this and it has the original tools in it, it's really special, it's really amazing. This plane is really cool because it is a coping tool for a window sash. In fact, I might buy this tomorrow at the auction. Basically, where the mutton bars fit together and there's a cope in the mutton bar, this is what this tool did. There's always those beading planes. Here is a whole collection of different size beads so that you can, bead out different things, but this would go on the side of a casing, right? So you see that little bead there? Fun little collection of just beading planes. Beading was a really popular way of just dressing up an edge of a board, edge of a beam. And so there's different size beating planes that a craftsman would have had in his box and just used to make things more beautiful. Levels show you, and the way they made the levels shows you how important level was, right? That getting the bubble to float right, and the decorative ways they handled these things so that you have different levels doing this speaks to the care, right? How many of us really carry around a level with these places anymore? And yet this seems to be one of those tools that was very important. There's a whole collection of plumb bobs here. Plumb bob basically is the string with the weight on the end of it, and so you would hang it from a beam to make sure that you're basically level and plumb, right? So that you can build properly, you can build square. The care that goes into a lot of these planes, the beautiful woods that they built with, speaks to the fact that they wanted their tools to function and look as beautiful as they function. Okay guys, the tool show's over. I ended up geeking out and buying some fun stuff. I'll show you what I got. This is a Videos roofing chart and estimator. Okay, so this is dates from the 1905, I believe. Basically, it would have been something that you would have taken to a job to help you figure out. So this is patented in July of 1907, and it was a way to figure out common rafters, jack rafters, hip rafters. And so it was basically like a construction master before the construction master. Construction master, if you don't know, is a calculator that carpenters and craftsmen use to figure out stuff like this. The area of that you're pouring concrete, or roof rafters, stair rises and runs. And so this is what they used before that time. This is 115 years old, so kind of cool. I only paid like 40 bucks. They said it was going to go for between 60 and 120, so kind of got a good deal there. Wasn't really the crowd for that kind of deal. On the wood planes, I really wasn't getting metal body planes. I was trying to get wood body planes because I don't have enough of those. And the book I'm writing right now, the millwork book, we ended up getting into how these things were made. So the first thing is window sash planes, okay? And what's interesting is that it says on here 5/8, and there's a 1 here and a 2 there, okay? Now there's some theories as why they would have done that. One was that you have one for roughing out the material, and then you had another one for finishing the material. But in another book I was reading, they was saying you had one for the mutton bars and one for like the stiles and rails. So either way, you can kind of check out the profile there. You're looking at the mutton profile there, so which is pretty cool. But wanted to get those. I collect sash planes. I've got another one in my office. Some of them only did the profile, others of them had double knives into the profile and the back rabbet. So anyway, kind of cool. I paid, I think 40 bucks for these, so this wasn't too bad. I think these two, I got them a good price. The estimated range was like between 60 and 120. I paid 40 for those, so that's pretty cool. The other thing is I was trying to get a set of hollows and rounds. I wanted to pay about 300 bucks for them. They started out bidding at like 450, and so I was like, I can't get that. There was a coping thing for a plane that I didn't get either. It also started too high. But what I did get was a collection of quirk beads and of quirk moldings, and so all in different sizes. And so these were a really common plane, okay? And these come in different sizes, and I think they're marked on the size on the back. Yeah, so on the back, you see that that's a 1/4 inch, that's a 3/8, that's a 7/8, right? And so this is a very common plane. And if you've seen the Kukin and Windsor profiles, you see the bead on the front edge of all those moldings. That's because these were a very common molding. And it came in it got 7/8 sizes. So this one was supposed to go for between 150 and 300, and I paid like 160. So I really feel like I got a good deal with these because this is a very common plane in a bunch of different sizes. This is something that Jackson could take to North Bennett Street when he goes in the next year or so. I am going to have to go to FedEx because I don't think the blades are going to fly with TSA. So I got to go put those in a box and then send them back to the shop. But all in all, kind of a fun trip. Hopefully we've looked back and seen how things were made. The Brown Tool Auction, check it out. Learn a lot about building. Those guys are really nice. There's a guy named Paul in there. He's written a book on Leonard Bailey. I'm getting his book. He was very helpful. All the guys were like, hey, yeah, let me show you this. Let me show you this. Let me talk to you about this. So a real learning atmosphere as well. That Patreon too, guys, is where you can learn about building from the past. Every Tuesday I'm dropping in the journeyman level, I'm dropping, curated sections of my library so that you can learn more about the past. One of them will be on hand planes, one of them will be on design from the past. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm Brent Hull, thanks for watching.